Hi there, everyone. So what everyone wants to know today is, what do I think about the first episode of the Deep End series on Hulu? So here I am, unedited, and I'm going to tell you what I think so far. First, I want you to remember that you're watching a TV show that was done about me, that I did not get any payment for, and that I have no control over. And one of the most vulnerable and nerve-wracking things in the world is watching someone else's portrayal of you and your life. First, let's start with the positives. Visually, it's beautiful, high quality, and cinematic. I loved the positive testimonials from fans, supporters, and people who understand me and my vision for the change that is needed in this world. This shows that what I am doing has really had a positive and deep impact on so many people. And that means everything to me. It is what keeps me going every day. This episode made it very clear that I am about the truth. I think viewers will get a very clear idea that myself, as well as those who follow my material, are about very deep, raw, real, honest stuff. Quite frankly, a lot of you are sick of the pretense and are looking for something very real. It is clear that I'm not just going to tell someone something that makes them feel good, when it is clear that doing so will not help them to recognize and break free from destructive patterns. And for people who are not ready for that kind of reality check, deep dive, or change themselves yet, they can clearly know it's not for them yet. I am very happy about the scene where I'm explaining the difference between healing and just feeling better. In this segment, I also got to present to the world the idea that regarding mental health, we need to start asking what happened to you instead of what is wrong with you. Sometimes a good idea has to come from someone on the outside. In this case, someone on the outside of the traditional mental health field. I am trying to create positive change in the mental health field. And this episode displayed that. I loved the part where one of my trainees was making a call saying how she's going to come home a different person and how she wants this to be her life's work. It meant so much to me that she found the connection she has been looking for, in my work especially, and about how positive this work can be. Plus, it's always fun to see those transformative private conversations that I don't see when I'm holding a training. I also thought that the segment where I have the audience raise their hands to give the person on the stage the awareness of how many people are really not okay in their lives was quite powerful. It makes people see that they aren't alone. But unfortunately, there are some things I want to clarify after seeing this first episode. This is a documentary series, and all documentaries start with lots of video. I mean hundreds and hundreds of hours. And that collective footage is then edited down to tell a story. Some things are included, but a lot always gets cut out. Watching this episode helped me realize something about my work. If literally anything, positive or negative, is taken out of context, and I mean a very long context, it can no longer be properly or fully understood. All media productions, including documentaries, are a series of sound bites, but sound bites just don't work to accurately portray what I am doing. I wish they did. It would make my life a whole lot easier. These subjects are just too nuanced and too complex to simplify in this way. For example, in one of the clips, there was a scene from a workshop where I was talking to a mom with a baby who wanted to go back to work. At one point in that conversation, I said, "You can do no better for your daughter than to give her an example of what a woman in her passion looks like." This makes it sound like I think it is the right answer for all mothers to work. I don't feel this way. I was helping this particular woman to release her resistance to it being right for her specifically to go back to work, rather than to force herself to do something out of a sense of obligation or society's current estimation of moral rightness. Moms choosing to work or not when they are raising children, and the impact that has on their children either way, is not a simple subject with simple answers. It is an incredibly complex one, especially in today's society. Honestly, I was watching the episode with my team. At one point, I pointed at the TV and said, "Who is that person? I don't like her very much." Not because I was watching the way I really am, and don't like what I see, but because of the way this particular episode was edited. The teal swan they created in this episode makes me come across very hard, harsh, cold, dismissive, unworkable, domineering, competitive, and angry. It also made me come across like a person with a superiority complex who is jealous, likes to be the queen bee, and who especially has no room in her life for any other women. This episode did not show my softness, receptivity, workability, or humility. It didn't show the reality of my multifaceted personality. I've received so many beautiful notes today from the people who know the real me, shocked that I was portrayed in this way. I feel misunderstood. That's part of why I wanted to make this video, and why I've also posted a full, unedited video from one of my workshops, so you can see for yourself how I interact with people in need of my help. It's on YouTube and on my website. Speaking of editing, there was a scene where I was being challenged at one of my retreats by an attendee who was concerned that I have no one that I look up to. The reality is that this interaction was crazy long, yet the entire conversation was reduced to several carefully selected cuts that, in my opinion, make me look like I have no tolerance for being questioned, which just isn't true. I invite questioning. The way this segment was cut makes me come across like an aggressive, egotistical megalomaniac, which I'm not. And unfortunately, because these cuts were removed from their full context, you didn't get to see the part where I said what I always say. That once your awareness gets to a certain point, the need for one specific teacher is gone, because you understand that you can learn from anything, everyone, and every single thing you come into contact with in the world. Thus, everything and everyone becomes your teacher. Unfortunately, my haters will love how this scene is cut. Another example of being taken out of context, when I was talking about not wanting to ever get into the spiritual field. What I actually said is that I never wanted to get into it because spirituality hurt me so much as a child, it being the reason that the man who abused me in childhood was able to gain access to me, under the cloak of spirituality and my spiritual gifts. The audio that was clipped together with me saying I never wanted to get into this field of spirituality was taken from a separate conversation where I was talking about my frustrations with the spiritual field in general. This segment, along with the scene where my manager Matthias was talking about marketing strategies with our marketing team, suggested that I am against the spiritual field and am in fierce adversarial competition with many of my colleagues, specifically the Dalai Lama, Eckhart Tolle, Deepak Chopra, and Anthony Robbins. It also made it look like my team and I are not as much about helping people as we are all about numbers and beating the competition. Not true at all. Having been an athlete, I love healthy competition, but competition is not what we are doing this for. Also, there are realities to what I do. My manager, who is very sweet, by the way, has a job. That job is to focus on the growth and well-being of my career, especially the more business-sided aspect of what I do, so that I can focus on creating content to help people. Most of my content is free, but I can't produce the content to help people without money to do it. But I never want you to forget that the reason I got into this line of work in the first place, and the reason I'm still in it today, is to help people who are suffering. I am for the spiritual field, while at the same time, I recognize the flaws and dangers inherent within it. And I have deep respect for many of my colleagues, even if at times our opinions differ. As I said earlier, documentaries require selecting some things and rejecting other things. A lot of other things, but that process can sometimes result in inaccurate representations, like the video of my retreat in which two women are helping each other. I don't actually offer a 2-week retreat for healing. The documentary gives the impression that these women are two people attending a healing retreat of mine and are doing the completion process together. This is not true. They are actually two trainees at my completion process training that are practicing on each other so they can learn how to do it on clients. They are not, in fact, to retreat attendees attending a retreat to heal. I would never let people coming to a retreat to get help facilitate completion process on each other. Plus, we always have licensed therapists on hand to help. I want to explain something that was not clear in this first episode. The title of the episode is Lost Toys, because at one point I refer to my followers, as well as myself, as Lost Toys. This is in reference to the island of misfit toys in the old movie Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. In the film, the misfit or lost toys are sentient toys who all have some strange quirk about them, and because of these quirks, these toys feel there is no human child who could possibly want to play with them. So King Moonracer brings them to stay on an island until suitable owners can be found. When I first started holding these events around the world and became familiar with my audience, many of them reminded me of these characters from this movie, and I myself relate to these misfit toys as well. Most of the documentary focused on my work with men and women who feel suicidal. And of course, that's part of what I do, but it's only part of it. From childhood trauma to relationship issues to problems at work to health issues to dysfunctional family systems to subconscious patterns, I offer help regarding anything that causes pain and problems in a person's life, and I take it all very seriously. It's the ultimate responsibility. And by the way, I don't condone suicide, full stop. Statements made by anyone out of context, sound bites that are given, that give a different impression, are just wrong and don't represent what I teach and how I feel. At the very end of the episode, I made what was supposed to be a cute joke about my rather humorous goal of beating the Pope at spiritual influence because of a most spiritually influential list that comes out each year. But this was edited to make it appear like a very serious, intentional competition that I have with him. It made it seem like I am out to win at any cost, and instead of funny, unfortunately, it came across like I am aggressive, and it came across like megalomania. I guess I need to work on how I convey my sense of humor. And I know you're all wondering about that hot tub scene where I got all bothered by the prospect of Juliana coming to live with Blake. Unlike how it appeared, this was not a Juliana is sweet and open to Teal, but Teal is cold and rejecting of Juliana thing. I was not against Juliana being in a relationship with Blake, like I'm some jealous ex-girlfriend. In reality, at the point when that hot tub scene was shot, Blake and I were actually having a conversation about the potential problems of him being about to bring Juliana into our highly intense and complex world, as well as the idea of them getting their own apartment and having their own space. I had doubts about Juliana's compatibility to the realities of the life we were living, and a bad intuition about Blake just winging it and hoping for the best. The reality of my life is that I have to protect myself from a person who I don't know being immediately thrust into living in my world. I'm a public figure, like it or not, so I have to be guarded and more careful. Well, there it is. Guess what? I haven't seen any of these episodes, so I will be watching them in real time alongside all of you. Let's hope the anticipation doesn't kill me. Have a good week. If you liked this video, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and consider sharing this video with your friends. You can also click on the bell icon to be notified of the next time that I post a video. I want to thank you personally for the bravery that you have to step into awareness. I'll see you in the next video.